Alrighty, welcome to episode 6 of the Aussie podcast, Talk Small Business to Me. Today we have the amazing Mary from The Marketing House, talking all things marketing, how to best put yourself out there as a small business. How are you feeling about today?
So nervous. This is my very first podcast, and so flattering. Thank you for having me. But yeah, totally nervous. But that's fine. You're just a girlfriend I'm catching up with for coffee. It's just nothing new.
Exactly. And we have an incredible cafe like just across from us, and the coffee is so good. So
essential.
Yeah. How are you going to get through the day?
Oh, this is my second coffee.
It actually is mine too.
I'm a mum, so this is my Red Bull.
It's like your IV.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Yeah,
if I don't have it, it's like I'm not going to be productive today.
No, or it's just not going to be a happy day.
No, absolutely. This is my thing.
Yeah.
If I have a coffee, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly.
This is kind of like a little like icebreaker kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If you were to give your business a signature song, what would it be?
A signature song?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the first thing that comes up is working 9 to 5 for some reason. I don't know why, because it's exactly why I started the business, was so that I didn't have to work to 9 to 5. But I don't know why I just thought that. So maybe we'll go with that.
Yeah, it's like the irony, like opens up conversation.
And now I've got that song stuck in my head. So thank you, Tristan.
You're so welcome. Maybe I'll just like slowly put it in the background. Yeah.
I do love a good karaoke too, so I might just bang that out.
And like Dolly any day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, maybe that. Ooh. Which
It's ironic, but it's so good.
Yeah, that's a strange question. I've never had to think of a soundtrack or to the business.
Yeah.
I might have to put that down.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, like, I feel like everyone's going to be a little bit different on, like, what they would perceive as it. And, like, there's going to be, like, really inside references to it.
Oh, absolutely.
So I kind of love it. But
good one.
Branching off that, tell us your story. How did you come to establish Marketing House?
Okay. So I started the Marketing House in 2020, which is obviously everyone knows what year that was. I have a background in marketing. Again, I went to uni, did all the stuff that I needed to do, had always had an interest in marketing, and I was always a marketing coordinator for a business. And I started the Marketing House sort of shortly after I had my kids, my two little ones. And my partner actually works in the film industry, and a lot of the time he would be overseas or interstate for long stints. And obviously as a working mum, that's, tricky to navigate. So I kind of went to myself and went, what can I do for myself? Because I still wanted that independence of, having something to do for myself, contributing to the household and all of that. I was sort of like, how can I still do what I'm doing, but my way? So I guess with this digital age, we can do anything online now. So that's sort of how the Marketing House started. Was I just sort of went, okay, I'm doing this as a freelancer now. Still had some casual jobs here and there, and sort of just took off. Mostly word of mouth. I had such a great support network, so I had some beautiful friends that were in business as well, and they sort of spread the word, and that's how it sort of got around. And then it sort of just really happened organically. I sort of was still working, but then doing that as a freelancer. And over time, I was sort of like, this is actually really taking off. This is something that small business owners really needed, that support. And then so sort of last year, I sort of went, I can do this full time now. So it has been, I was looking back at it when you sort of, showed me the questions, and I was sort of thinking about it, looking at my timeline, which is strange. And yeah, August last year was when I went, I'm going full time with the Marketing House. And it's crazy because it feels like it was so long ago, because I feel like I've accomplished so much in that small time. So I've brought on a new team member. And it's just grown so organically, and it's still like a pinch me moment, I think. Even though I have so much faith and trust in the brand and I do put so much energy into it, it's still sort of like when you secure that new client or when you've got a new inquiry, you're like, oh my God, it's actually, it's getting out there now. So I guess, that really applies to how I work with my clients as well, is that, marketing and being in business is not just, it's not a race. It's sort of like a marathon kind of, you're there for the long haul, and nothing sort of happens overnight. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think because 2020, massive year, right?
Massive.
We can all agree. We don't even need to.
Did we even live it?
Yeah, literally. We don't even need to talk about that. But
we won't even say the word.
No. Shh.
What word?
What word?
C word.
But there was so much in terms of content. It really just boomed. Marketing and the need for it really just exploded.
Yep.
So how did you get that aha moment that was oh yeah, I'm jumping on the bandwagon?
Well, it was sort of every business had to shut down, right? A good example of this is one of my girlfriends had a business which was, running workshops for children, music and dance and all of that. So those were in-person workshops. She had to stop that completely. She had to stop that, and it was kind of how do you pivot? How do you still bring in income and still provide that service to your customers who still want to do it, but how do you make it happen? So for her, I'll use her as an example. She started doing then her classes online, and we could then. So you can just jump on Zoom and then go, okay, let's work out a time where we can all get together and still do what we're doing. She had these musical instruments and she would say, okay, grab some pots and pans and that's what you can use. So I guess everyone sort of just pivoted and adapted to what situation we were being put in. And I guess that's the power of technology and that online presence, is that we can do everything we normally do online. We're not restricted by borders or anything like that. So I guess, that's sort of where I was like, okay, well, you can, and if the world doesn't need to stop. I mean, it did, which was unfortunate, but you jump back on and it's just, people adapt.
Yeah, and there was such a need for connectivity. I feel like these past 4 years, there's just been this real desire for connection.
Absolutely.
And particularly in that digital sphere, we're just seeing that go crazy, right? And with all the pros and all the cons and everything in between,
yes,
it's massive. And it's recognizing that it is the way the world's moving, and are you moving with it?
Yes. Absolutely.
And so obviously your big heart is small business. What would you say to someone that's starting out? What is some foundation strategies that they can implement in terms of marketing in that early phase?
Yeah, look, the first thing I think is, if you're really wanting, I know that a lot of small businesses start out as, a little bit of a side hustle and all of that, which is great. For myself, I started out as a freelancer, complementing the work that I was doing full time. And I think one of the things I come back to with a lot of my clients who are rebranding is they always regret that they didn't do it right at the start. So your identity and your brand is really what's going to sort of dictate how you connect with your customers. So I like to say that, marketing is to attract people, but branding is to connect with people. So I think that's a really big one. So it's almost even an activity that sort of, when you do a full brand for your new business that you're starting, it's almost like you get to, and when you're working with someone who, they are graphic designers and they're branding, you get to sort of workshop how you think your business is going to look. And coming from an outsider's perspective, I'm working with a photographer at the moment and we're sort of workshopping her new business, and we're sort of going, okay, she's been to me, I'd never thought of that. I've actually never thought of it that way, but it's so good that you're here and helping me in the business and going, hey, have you thought of this? Because I use her services. So I've sort of been putting my own sort of, okay, well, as a marketing expert, I don't like to say expert, as a marketing professional, this is how I would do it. But hey, I'm also your customer. this is how I would love to see it. Because your brand is not about what you like. Yes, there's an element of it that you should be proud of, but it's really about your customer. What do they want? How are you going to serve them? And how are you going to connect with them? And that's through your identity 100%. So get that right, and then everything else will sort of follow organically.
Yeah, great. So like kind of extending off that, like what is the importance of like storytelling in terms of a brand voice?
So important. Storytelling, this is funny because even now this conversation, we're telling stories, right? That's how people connect with each other. That's how relationships form. Storytelling is huge. So even just having your customers tell their own stories, it doesn't have to be, you know, I think a lot of business owners, when they, you know, sometimes they don't want to be in front of the camera. So many of my clients, I don't want to be in front of the camera. Please don't make me do that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. How can we tell your story in other ways? So that might be through, sharing your customer's journey, why they chose your product or your service. You know, how you started the business. Yes, you don't have to be, you know, telling a whole novel and saying why you started the business, but obviously there's a story behind why you started it. Tell that story. Because some people might resonate and go, oh my God, that's incredible. I've been through that, or I've experienced the same thing. And then I guess for me with my service-based business, it's telling the story of my clients, because 100% of the time other small business owners resonate with that. And again, marketing is one of those things that it's everyone sort of just, there's foundations, but it's all just a test really, because it moves so fast as well. So it's all just a test, and let's just try things. You know, that's my biggest thing is let's try it. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, and like I really like what you said about it's like all a test and it's all like fast moving. How do you keep up with such a rapidly moving industry?
It's tricky. It's so tricky because I guess for me, because I do work with clients that, you know, I handle all their social media, it's almost like we do have to keep on top of it. I'm part of a lot of, you know, I sign up to all of the mailing lists. I sign up to some great LinkedIn learning courses. And that's really just for me to sort of go, okay, how can I sort of be the middleman for, because I'm working for my clients, how can I be the middleman of taking all of that information and apply it to them? So it's one of those things that, you know, if I'm on social media too much, I'm just like, oh my God, information overload.
Yeah, literally.
So much. It's moving so rapidly. Oh, there's a new trend here. Again, you don't have to jump on that trend straight away if it doesn't apply to your business. But taking in and going, oh, actually, yes, I do like that, but how can I adapt it to my own business or my own clients? So I guess, it's just being open to learning, to new things.
Yeah, and I see it all the time, right? Because like my job is
exactly
keeping on top of it as well.
Absolutely.
I see it time and time again, right? Like people jumping on trends and then not understanding, like they're just like copy paste kind of thing. And like, yes, there is a way of like, there's a trend and you've obviously got to like, I'm going to use the word mimic it, but like you've got to make it individual. Like there is the algorithm, which is like essentially a swear word.
Yeah. Don't say that word. We don't like that word next to the other C word.
Yeah.
C word.
But like people don't understand that like it thrives off like uniqueness and like individuality. And people love when you have your own little twist. Like we've seen the same amount of content over and over again.
Absolutely.
And like, yeah, like a trend is fun and engaging for a reason.
Yes.
But like, how are you going to make it your own?
Absolutely.
And like that comes down to like your brand voice.
Yes. And if you know who your customers are, you think about it in terms of, okay, I like that trend, but what would my customer like to see?
Yeah.
How will I adapt it to what they actually want to see? Because what's the point? What's the point of creating content if it's not going to attract the person that ultimately you want to attract, right?
Yeah.
You're just talking to the mass population of the Instagram and TikToks and all of that. Serve it to your customer.
Yeah.
What do they want to see?
Exactly. And there's no like real like conversion if you're just really like
Just doing
chucking things out there.
Exactly.
Because like it is tricky. Like it is like a real art to it.
Yes.
But there's something to say when you get it right.
Yes.
And you know when you get it right.
Absolutely. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a full-time job.
Yeah.
So any business owner that can put some time aside to working on their social media and doing all of the fun things that come along with it, great. You know, it's great that you're adopting it. The thing is just don't just leave your social media accounts alone.
Yeah.
Don't start one up and then never post anything.
Yeah. And like
Try. Go out there and do something.
Exactly. And you can make it fun. You can make like there's so much you can do.
Absolutely.
And I think people pigeonhole themselves.
Yes.
To have this expectation on themselves what it's meant to look like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We could be here all day talking about it.
No, literally. So let's move on to our next question.
Yes.
What's the importance of networking?
Oh, so important. So important.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of set myself a goal, so with my own business, because my business is, small business owners. I have been really, really putting an importance on networking and getting myself out there. I'm naturally an introvert, but slowly over time I've sort of gone, okay, the way that I'm going to meet business owners is actually meeting them face to face and talking to them and having conversations and introducing myself. So I've been to so many beautiful events here on the Gold Coast, and there's so many. And they're not that whole, I think a lot of the time when you think of the word networking, you're thinking, oh my God, it's like everyone's in suits and everyone's an expert in their field, and oh my God, what am I going to share? Like, what am I even going to be doing there? But it's so not like that. There's so many beautiful events. I'm going to mention one. It's the Brunch Club. They do one every month, and it's literally a group of people together. There's a speaker that speaks for probably about 20 minutes, and you have brunch and a drink.
That sounds like a blast.
I know, it really is.
I love brunch.
I know. You should come next time. We'll have to get the team out.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful way to network.
Yes.
And it's not that everyone's in a suit sitting around, talking about this and that. It's just a group of people getting together, learning about each other, learning about each other's businesses, and taking away relationships that you can then nurture, and you can start to follow them on Instagram and see what they're doing and support them in their journeys. So important.
Yeah.
So important.
And like the more you do it, the more comfortable you get as well.
Absolutely.
Like there's something to say, because like before I started doing like my study and everything like that, introvert. Like I was just like I love talking to people and learning their stories, but like in small doses.
Yes. I'm the same.
But then it's like the more you do it,
the
more confident you get at it.
Exactly.
And it just becomes second nature. So, and you're able to like not only hear people's stories and hear what people are saying and like get the connections there, they're able to connect with you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and people crave that now. And I guess with being a small business owner as well, like, I do have 2 girls on my team. We like to go out to these events to actually get out of the office.
Oh, yeah.
Because I work from home as well. I've got a beautiful little setup at home. I crave that connection. I want to be talking to someone face to face. I love the fact that I can do my work online. But it's just so nice to go grab a coffee, or, even with my clients, I offer, and I know a lot of other sort of businesses don't offer this and they do everything online, but I like to offer, if they're on the Gold Coast, I like to offer actually meeting at a cafe and having a coffee. I'll shout them their first coffee. Maybe second one. Because I will also be having a second one.
Yeah.
I like to meet someone face to face and have that conversation, and, it's just totally, it's a different thing when you're talking to someone on Zoom. It's totally different to, face to face.
100%.
It's such a lost art. Is that strange to say? It's a lost art.
I think 100%, like you're so right. I think sometimes as much as we crave it, we lose the importance of it at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like it's like we don't know what to do with ourselves, and then we're just like,
oh my God, are you your friend? Are you an adult?
hello?
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you do it too, the more you're like, yes, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's catch up. You know, let's not do a Google Meet. Let's actually go for a coffee.
Exactly. And it kind of feels sometimes that you're a bit like boxed in,
Yes,
you know, like
absolutely.
you can't read anything through Zoom.
No.
Well, sometimes you can, but
Yeah.
like,
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's so much better to sort of have that, the body language as well. And you can really gauge too, like, you know, when you're starting to, I like to have my meetings, not overly like I'm selling myself, but really just to understand them. But you can almost even gauge too when they're like, oh, a little bit reserved about what I just said. You know, you can adapt.
yes.
And you can kind of go, okay, well, let's, you know, talk about a kind of sense that you weren't really thinking
Vibing
of that.
this,
Yeah, let's, tell me, talk to me. So that's really important. Networking is, that connection with people face to face is so important.
So how would we, I mean, you did briefly mention it, but how is that important in terms of like small business? Like different, like let's just go into like even just different like niches and stuff like that. How is it important to network with people that are like in the same industry as you or even like just separately?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important because I guess, you know, with the rise of all of these, you know, faceless accounts on Instagram and social media, it's sort of like, what do we trust now? It's building the trust and the connections. When people see you face to face and that, you know, you're having the conversations and you're listening, you're actively listening to them, it's like you're not just selling them a product or a service or that, you know, you're going to get rich by doing this. It's actually that conversation, it's the back and forth. It's just so important, honestly. And, you know, why not get out of the office for a day and just meet people? Really, really important.
Yeah, great. So sometimes people will probably come to you and be like, okay, but like why do I need a professional in this? So how do you break down that investment versus expense mentality and why is marketing vital in small business?
This is such a good question, Esther. You're so good. It's like investing in yourself. Invest in your business because when you do something right at the start, you just open yourself up to more opportunities at the very start instead of going, oh, I actually don't like how I did that. Now I've got to redo all of this again. Do it right from the start. And I understand that, you know, a lot of the time when you do a startup, it's just yourself and funds are limited. But whenever you can, try and get someone, even just someone that, you know, as simple as going onto a business group and saying, hey, like, yes, maybe I created this logo in Canva, but what do you think of it? Getting that second opinion is super important. And again, if you've got the funds and the resources to do it, get it done right at the start. Because say, for example, you know, if you were to start an e-commerce store and you're on the wrong platform, that could totally, you know, that's not great. And then you might think, oh, well, you know, it's because the business is not good, my product's not good. It's not that your product's not good. It's just that you haven't set it up right so that your customer can purchase your product easily. It's setting it up right. And there are so many amazing talent on the Gold Coast and in Brisbane, local talent that can help you. It's just finding the right one. It's, sort of figuring out what the essentials are for your business. I guess if you're not an expert in that field, that's totally fine. You know, I myself, I am terrible with numbers. I am not a numbers person.
I hear you.
QuickBooks to me is just like, can we not? I don't like looking at this because I invoice and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, literally. Oh gosh.
And that's okay. Like I leave all of that to someone who is a professional. Yeah. And that's the same in other aspects of the business. If you love numbers, great, do it. If you love, you know, creating content, do it. If you don't love a part of the business that you're like, oh, I'm spending way too much time on this, get someone else to do it, outsource it, because it just opens up so many opportunities for you to focus on other important things in the business.
Branching off that, you talked about outsourcing. Because we see a lot of people that on like different groups that comment about outsourcing overseas. What's the benefits of going more locally Australian based?
Look, there's so many great people locally. It's so good to support someone local. And again, this is that whole connection thing. If you have someone that is helping you with your business, why would you choose someone that is overseas that you're going to probably talk to, 2 hours behind on Zoom, when you could go, hey, I have some really good ideas. I have some ideas for a project we can, start to work on. Let's catch up for a coffee. Like, that is so valuable, because it almost feels like, yes, you're outsourcing, but it almost feels like you've got a team member without it officially, being a team member. And I guess just that, time, time zones are different, language barriers also. And yes, it may be a little bit cheaper to outsource overseas, but there are so many incredible people that will do what you're asking them to do, and that will help you in your business, and that are super invested in the business. Definitely. If you can do local, do local. Yeah, absolutely, because there is amazing talent.
Yeah, and it's like also like as a small business, there's something beautiful about supporting other small businesses.
Absolutely.
Because then it's like, it's really like this unified, like, we are all in this together. Like, we understand your struggle.
Yes.
How can my skills help you? And then how can this be, is it like symbiotic relationship? Like, how can we help one another?
Yeah.
That was a really big word.
Great word. That's such a good word. Love that. That's a word for the day.
Yeah, I really just had to point it out just then. I was like, wow.
Words with friends. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's and I guess the whole, even just the, all the cybersecurity stuff as well. Like, yes, you want to trust people that are working with you, but when there is that international sort of thing to play along with it, it's sort of tricky. Like, you're like, whereas we're so many beautiful people here on the Gold Coast and in Australia. So definitely, if you can try and find someone local, 100%.
Yeah, and it's like, even just like, your business is your baby. Like,
absolutely.
Don't you want to like, give it the best you've got?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not to say that people overseas aren't good, but it's more like, it's just different.
Yes,
it's just different.
There's just different components to having someone local.
Yeah.
More pros than cons.
Yeah. So what are some common marketing mistakes and misconceptions about digital marketing?
Good question. Another good one. Common one probably is putting all your eggs in one basket. That's probably a big one. Because when it comes to marketing, it's not just one platform that you're on. It's so many different touch points that your customer is finding you. Yes, you may have an account on Instagram that has 50,000 followers. Amazing, great. That's such an amazing accomplishment. But what would happen if your account got hacked? That to me just is, where do you go? You don't have any other form of getting all of those amazing people back. So how do you, there's other ways. Email list, growing your email list, having that presence on, a good presence on your website, making it known that other people can contact you in other ways rather than just one platform. So I think that's really important, is having that strategy of going, okay, well, yes, I'm going to put a lot of effort into making sure that my social media presence is great, but also I need to make sure that if that were to, be affected, that my customers can find me other ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like there's, you see it all the time as well with, like I'm also have been at fault of this as well, but that whole idea of like the universal posting as well, not one thing is going to go it's,
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
all different and they
Yes.
all have different, like, audiences.
Yeah.
Like, they've just got,
Absolutely. There's people choose Facebook over Instagram, Instagram over Facebook and TikTok. Again, totally. YouTube.
yeah.
You know, someone could be listening to this on Spotify, or they could be watching the video on YouTube. It's people consume media differently. So yeah, definitely not putting your eggs in one basket and just doing the one. Try if you can, going into putting effort into other platforms. It's a big one.
What do you think, this is like a deviation, but what do you think on the whole concept of posting times?
Posting times. Oh,
Yeah, and like trying to pick the algorithm, I guess.
So with a lot of my clients, I work with them on making sure that we are posting at the right time. It's a tricky one, right? Because when I consume social media, probably 8 hours of the day because it's my job.
Yeah,
It's my
my
job.
screen time's scary.
Oh, I know. It's scary. It's like, here's your weekly wrap up. And I'm like,
I'm like,
oh my
don't talk
gosh.
to me.
Don't need to say that. Thank you. I know. I've been on social media a lot. Thank you. Yeah, look, it's a lot of testing, right? Like I said before, it changes so much. And the different kinds of content you post might work with an audience that is consuming it in the morning. It really depends on the industry as well.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a good example is one that, you know, if you're a business that has a product that is suitable for a mum of school kids, most of the time, like myself, I'm in pickup from that, 2:45 to 3 o'clock. Post that time because you never know, your client or your customer might be scrolling Instagram or social media when they're ready to pick their kids up. Post something then. Yeah. See how it goes. See if the response isn't there, pivot and go a different direction.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't just Google, what's a great time, because that's not for your industry.
Yeah.
Think about your customer, who they are, what they're doing in their day, and when they're going to be consuming social media. And again, if it doesn't work, try a different strategy.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one. I work with the different industries. So I work with, wedding venues and catering company, and I work with an earth moving company. And all of the customers are consuming social media differently. So I work with my clients to work out what is the best time and what is the content and who's going to be watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing it.
And like you do see it, like people engage at certain times. Like I feel like at Aussie, everyone's consuming at like ridiculous hours of the night, guys. Like go to sleep.
What times?
I like every single time I post later, like I've got it scheduled for later, way more interaction.
What time's later though? What's a crazy hour?
Well,
for you
like
guys.
I'm just talking like 9 p.m. Like
Oh, okay.
yeah, like from 8 to like 10 kind of vibes, which I'm like,
Go to sleep.
go to sleep. But I get it. But I'm also like, wow, guys, this is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if it's working, do it. Great.
Yeah.
Keep posting 9 o'clock because you've obviously got those night owls that just are at their peak when it's
I know.
that time of the night.
Yeah, it's just like parents trying to having their little
Their
moment away,
downtime, yes.
from the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, great. I'm at my peak. This is when I need to learn new things.
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
like Aussies.
Yeah.
So what are your social media hot takes?
This is a good question. Hot takes. Oh, look, I don't know that it's a hot take really, but as a small business owner, don't feel like you need to conform. My business is not on TikTok, and you're probably going, oh, why not?
That's interesting to me.
Yes, because I'm not going to be producing content that is suitable for TikTok because it's not I would rather be providing content on Instagram, which is probably my biggest source of, I get a lot of customers and clients from Instagram. TikTok for me is like, I'm not going to be dancing in front of a camera. I know it's a few years back, that was a trend, obviously. I'm not going to be doing those things, and I'm not going to be doing anything overly controversial as well, because that's not my business. I feel like a platform like that is very much to get any form of traction and to get the views when you're being controversial. But that's not how I want to be in my business. I work with clients that want to be working with professionals. And yes, there's a fun element of what we do, but it's not going to be the dancing around and, ripping on a business or a competitor or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's probably my hot take is don't feel like you need to be doing something that doesn't align with your values. I don't know that you can call that a hot take, but yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. If that's you're obviously like that's where you sit on it, and some I mean, for me, I'm a bit shocked, so I feel like it is that is a hot take.
Yeah, okay.
But
yeah,
doesn't
why
have
are you
to-
shocked though?
I feel like marketing is something that it's like hustling on TikTok and just different marketing agencies and just different things off it. So I was just like,
I just haven't had the desire really to
pursue it.
Pursue it and navigate, because I want to, when I do something, I want to give it my all. So I feel like if I am on it and I'm not giving it my all, it's almost like a
bad look kind of thing.
It's just I may as well just be doing what I know will work. And being that educational platform for small businesses, instead of doing the dance and talking about random things that don't necessarily relate to my customers.
Yeah.
My client,
Really interesting. I love it. I love it. So why do you love marketing?
Oh, good one. I'm a creative at heart.
Yeah.
I always have been. So I guess marketing, again, because it changes and moves so fast, marketing to me is my creative outlet. It is such a visual thing as well. And I guess it's sort of like, when a project ends or when a campaign or an event ends, it's almost like you've got that tangible product at the end of the day where you're like, oh my gosh, we did so well, or yes, this campaign resulted in this. And it's just that high that you get, I suppose, from seeing your clients achieve amazing things. Something that you workshopped, months and months ago has now resulted in this. And it's just that, I love it. I thrive on it. And I love working with my clients on things and projects and exciting things like that. Yeah.
So good. That was actually my last question.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Is there anything else you would like to add? Anything that's last words of advice or things that you, a little bit of wisdom that you could give?
I guess one thing is build your community. I guess for me, because I am in a service-based business and my clients are small business owners, throwing back to the networking thing, I meet so many incredible women, mostly women, at these events. And the relationships I've formed with them from meeting them to, chatting with them on social media, following them, looking at, supporting them at the things that they're doing. They run events or they do workshops and all of these things. It makes such a big difference. And they might not be your client right there and then, but they might have a group of people that they're telling them about you. It comes full circle. And definitely just, nurturing those communities that you build on social media. And that's the thing, social media is so powerful. So, use it.
Yeah, use it as just an asset.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's there for a reason.
Absolutely.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I love that. That whole like small business is a community, right? Like you have to be connected because otherwise, like, it's a hard journey.
Exactly. Exactly. You're just talking to no one really.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's, you know, you give and you take. It's not a one-sided street. It's definitely, building that community, being open to meeting new people and,
Yeah, that's so cool. I love it. This outro is always like,
you've got this. You've got this.
Amazing. Thank you for joining. What was it? Sixth?
Oh.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the
That's my lucky
episode.
number too.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's so cool.
Sorry, I ruined
Wait,
your
is it sixth?
Oh, maybe it's not.
Wait, I'm just going to count in my head. I think it's six.
Oh, okay. We'll go 6 then. It's my lucky number.
Okay, well, 6 or 6.5, 7. Either one. Like I said, numbers, not my strong suit.
No.
But yeah, thank you for joining. We had a blast. Lots of fun.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. Let's do it again soon.
I love it. Absolutely. Make sure you tune in. Let us know what you want to hear. That is Talk Small Business to me. See you soon.